Hey guys, it's Jeffrey Lynn. In this video, I want to talk about how you can make it easy on yourself to not eat. So if you want to do fasting or time-restricted eating or even just a very restricted diet because you have allergies like me, this is how I've done it, and this is why it's not hard for me to not eat.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boy.
Why is there anything I can eat in the fridge? It's so annoying. But this is what I actually do. I open and close the refrigerator. It's like exercising, and I don't get anything out. It's just like something I do because other people do it. Actually, most of the time for me, it's more annoying that people talk about eating all the time and make such a big deal out of it because I basically don't eat. I'm literally allergic to all foods on the planet. So anytime people are like, why don't you try this diet or why don't you try this diet? I mean, if it involves eating, I can't do it. I don't understand why people keep on wanting me to poison myself with, oh, why don't you try this thing or why don't you try that thing or why don't you like not eat this or that and like eliminate something. Like I have nothing in my diet. I can't eliminate anything from it.
Hi boys and girls, JeffreyLynn.com fans everywhere. I wanted to answer a question today that I get a lot. When I tell people I'm allergic to everything, they go, well, what about, no, you don't understand, I just said everything. Well, what about, no, I'm allergic to everything. I can't eat food. So what can you eat then? That's the question. What does a person that's allergic to everything, or some of you that are allergic to a lot of things, what's a good remedy? Well, here's the secret Jeffrey Lynn diet. The secret is ALLERGIES. If you're not as allergic as I am, you can get the normal powder, but if you're pretty allergic, you can try the infant.
So with all this health conscious stuff going around and people getting really into, very restricted diets, like even fasting is becoming pretty popular now, or time restricted feeding or time restricted eating, I don't really know. In this video, I want to talk about how you can make it easy on yourself to not eat. So if you want to do fasting or time restricted eating or even just a very restricted diet because you have allergies like me, this is how I've done it, and this is why it's not hard for me to not eat. But first, a little bit about myself. So I have a very mysterious chronic illness. It's very cruel and destructive, and it's unlike anything else that anybody has. It's most similar to a very extreme version of allergies, but to say what I have is like allergies is like saying a tsunami is just a wave. Like the scale and the magnitude of it and the destructive force is totally different. So I am allergic to all foods, but also everything in the environment. And what happens is my skin cracks, it peels, it bleeds, it falls up in chunks. And for a long time, my skin looked like I had third-degree burns. The flesh was coming out, I was leaking. And my skin itches so much that it would drive a person insane, and I was scratched so much till I bled because the pain is better than the itching.
Okay, so the scariest environment imaginable. Thanks. That's all you gotta say. Scariest environment imaginable.
And for my whole life, I've had really severe asthma, so the asthma attack never stopped for maybe like 30 years. I was constantly having to fight for every single breath, and everything in my body was swollen and burning, from my brain to my intestine. So I've had mental illnesses too, like depression. For a while, I didn't know who I was, and I couldn't speak. I had to learn how to speak again. I've been ice cold, and it seemed like I was dead. I was like breathing ice cold air, and my whole body was basically blue and black. So I'm no stranger to having to tough it out, and on this channel, that's just kind of what I want to share with everybody. Is there are a lot of motivational videos about reaching your dreams and all that stuff, and I just want to be able to have a good night's sleep. If your life is as chaotic as mine, and that is basically your dream, if you can just have a good night's sleep, or if you can just have a day without pain, then that's kind of what I want to talk about. As far as eating goes, I know it's such a big deal for everybody. I mean, it's part of our nature as a biological living being. We need nutrients, we need sustenance, and to go against that, it's really hard. But because I'm allergic to everything, I've had to learn how to not eat, because the cost of eating would damage my body so much that I would lose months or years if I didn't have that kind of self-control to not eat. And the most important way I've found to not care about eating is to get into the zone about something else that you're super passionate about, and you just kind of lose track of time and you're so into something. And when you can live in that zone more, and if you have a lot of interest that gets you in that state of mind, eating is the last thing that's on your mind. You can look at little kids and just know that people can get into the state very easily. A lot of times you would see little kids just like playing, you tell them to come and eat, and they don't really want to. They just get really annoyed, and maybe they'll come and take a bite and then they'll run off and go play again. That's kind of the mindset you need to get into when you're trying to fast or when you're doing time restricted eating. And a lot of workaholic people do this too. Like they just miss meals because they're so engaged in their work. It's not like they're punishing themselves and they're like overworking because their bosses are making them to. It's just they're so excited about their work. It might be art, it might be painting, it might be doing business deals, and that's just what gets them fired up. It's like the work or the fun is fueling them more than the food and the nutrition would. And there are a lot of research now that says fasting is actually great for you. It's not just a ancient religious thing. Like, people figured that out thousands of years ago, that the body does benefit from fasting. That's part of the keto diet idea, is that you want to start burning fat instead of burning the glucose and the carbs that you take in. And the same thing with fasting. Is like if you fast for a while, then your body works through all the carbohydrate and the sugar, glucose type of energy that's in your body, and then your body starts breaking down the fat, using that for energy, and that's getting to the ketosis as well. For me, learning as well as doing my video projects, that gets me really fired up, and I'll get into the zone where I can work for 10 hours and time would just disappear, and I actually feel more invigorated than before I started. So people also feel like you have to eat just because that's just what people do, and so many social events are built around it, and there are restaurants everywhere, and it's just such a big part of human culture. So it's built up in your mind that eating is a good thing. And the way to reverse that so you're not as tempted to go eat is think about all the problems that you get when you eat, especially with foods that are bad for you, or even just eating too much in itself. So that's the idea of fasting, is you want to cut down on eating too much carbs or eating too much junk food and let your body reboot itself, right? So if you think about all of the problems and all the things that it's causing you to miss out when you eat too much, then there's less of a temptation, there's less of a halo around the benefits of eating. You start to think about if you start eating this, then you'll feel low energy. Like, a lot of people already know this about eating fast food, and so they'll likely avoid it more. There's also a negative in eating too much, just any kind of food. So think of and internalize and notice it when you're feeling bad after eating certain foods or eating just too much in general. And next time when you feel like you want to, especially when you're on a strict diet, bring up those memories about how, and start thinking about how eating would actually make your life worse, and take you further away from the goals that you want and the happiness and the time you want to spend with your family. Because if you're feeling like crap after you eat, then what's the point of eating? And that's what's worked for me, because every time I eat something, I'm going to suffer for hours or days or weeks. I'm going to miss out time with my friends. I'm going to miss out time on finishing projects that I need to do. So those are more important to me than eating. Eating is a habit a lot of times, and even if you don't need food, you just get so used to eating, just like the routine habits of moving your mouth or just having certain taste and food in your stomach.
I got out of the military probably at the same time you quit smoking. The amount of chips you eat, the way you always have to keep your hands and mouth busy, you were a two-pack a day man for sure.
Even if you're overweight, a lot of people still eat. Well, that's kind of how they get overweight. They eat more than their body needs. And I do this too. I open the refrigerator and look around, and then I close it because there's nothing I really want. And I'm actually not really hungry. It's just something to do when I'm bored, or it's just like habitual. When I walk near the kitchen, I'll go and open the refrigerator. So for me to change that habit of just eating because you're filling up time. So it's a subconscious thing when your body isn't doing other things, you just naturally fall back to eating. So you need to fill your life with more activities and be more proactive in doing the things that you need to do. A lot of times we have a lot of stuff that we could be doing, and then we're just lazy and we sit down, and then when we sit down, our body naturally falls into this, I just want to snack on something mood. You need to fill that time with some other routine and train your body to do something else. It's totally possible. Everybody can readapt. Come on, humans are the most adaptable because we can think and we can force ourselves and control our own learning. And last of all, if you feel like not eating is cramping your social life, just go and hang out with your friends anyway. Just order a glass of water. And if they really get on your case about being strict with your diet, that's their problem. If they're not as health conscious or understanding about your health needs, they're not really your friends, and you should go find some other friends. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like, subscribe. Really helps me a lot. Peace out.